Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Dezey here. Now it's been a little while since my last video, but I've been ranking the whole time. I've gone from tier 7 hotness all the way to tier 9 pinnacle of awesome. Now I want to share with you a few things I've learned along the way about vision and late game strategies. So let's get started. First, I'd like to give some general tips on scout traps and vision. Everyone should be using traps. It is not just the roamer's job to set up vision. In the solo queue, sometimes you don't have a roam who is good at vision, and you will need to provide for yourself. As the flow of the game changes, so will the movement tendencies of your enemies. Try to keep track on patterns and most used pathways that your enemies have. Lane minions and minion mines can also provide excellent vision. Use these, especially late in the game. Denying the enemy vision is just as important as providing it for your team. After watching this video, you'll know all the high priority places to check for scout traps. As I said earlier, as the flow of the game changes, so should your scout traps. I'm going to outline the different phases of the game. The first phase is the laning phase. It starts at the very beginning of the game, all the way until the first turret is taken. After the first turret falls, we go straight into the mid-game. The primary objective of the mid-game is to take turrets, minion mines, and gold mines. And finally, we have the late game, which is generally when the Kraken is up, or when the heroes are at a 4 to 6 item build, or there are no more turrets in the lane. Starting with the laning phase, after your first rotation, your priorities are to protect your laner from ganks and your jungle from being invaded. To prevent your laner from ganks, do not put the traps in the lane bushes. The lane bush does not give enough time for the laner to get out of fast ganks. It is also a high traffic area where the enemy team can dismantle the mine very easily. I recommend placing them in these two areas. Due to the natural pathing of the laning phase, this spot has the lowest traffic and it gives enough time for the laner to flee from a gank. Once the scout trap has been spotted, the enemy will continue to go and cover that area. Be creative and move that scout trap around. Once you have protected your laner, it is time to focus on invasions. As an example, your home base is going to be on the blue side. If you are invading, place your scout traps here. These spots will keep track of when the minion camps respawn and or when the enemy is near the camp. I advise placing traps along the perimeter outside of your jungle in case the opponent tries to counter jungle you. With these traps in place, and by using deductive reasoning, you can always know where the enemy jungler duo is, even if they are in the bush. These two areas provide great vision and rarely get dismantled. If these scout traps reveal the enemy junglers taking those minion camps, take advantage of the lane as a team and push as hard as you can. Now on the other hand, if you are getting invaded, your jungle camps must be protected. This area in particular is very important because many opponents like to sneak back here to steal camps or backdoor the home base. I will be addressing backdooring in the next video. Placing traps here by the gold miner is also advised. Sometimes I put them smack dab in the middle because most of the time your enemy will take the sneakiest route. Once a turret falls, the laning phase is over and the mid-game begins. In this phase, the main objectives are the rest of the turrets and the miners and the Kraken if the mid-game lasts long enough. The scout traps you place should focus on protecting these objectives. Warding in this particular spot is only useful when you take the second tier turret. Once that second tier turret is gone, the enemy movement tendencies will change. This scout trap here will help you keep vision of what's going into the jungle straight from the base. Be sure to always keep the lane pushed to provide extra vision. Notice I don't place traps in the bushes in this map. The scout traps on the map will tell me if anyone goes into the bushes. Since I always look at the minimap most of the game, I will know when anyone steps into those bushes. However, if you do have expendable gold, by all means, put traps in those bushes. The ones I show you here have a less likely chance of being dismantled. If you can control both minion mines and have full vision in the jungle, you have won control of the jungle shop. Around the time when the Kraken spawns, most people will have around 4 to 5 full items. I tend to classify this as the late game. In this phase, lane control is crucial. Item slots for traps and flares are almost non-existent. Keep in mind that I have geared this guide towards solo queue. In the pro games, they are much quicker, and the roams will always have extra slots for these traps or flares. But since most of us are not pros, I will always recommend a contraption. Here are some priority spots that will create a strong perimeter around the Kraken. These scout traps will track movement from the base into the jungle, while these scout traps will track any enemy trying to backdoor. Always remember that when the Kraken dies, it will respawn 3 minutes after it has been unleashed. Be sure to manipulate the lane to provide vision as far as you can. As for lane wards, the only two that matter are in these areas. These are specifically geared for the heroes that can go stealth, like Taka and Kestrel. Or if they have the new hero Flicker, who has his own stealth and can also make everyone on his team stealth. Now, let's move on to the late game strategy. Using the blue side as your home base, I will show you a strategy that has been very successful for me in solo queue. Whether or not the Kraken is up, the lane minions are a pivotal piece to this strategy. Control of the minion mines are also the second priority. Let's assume both teams control their own minion mine. Start by pushing the lane hard into the remaining enemy turrets or into their base. Doing this will force the enemy out of the jungle to protect their base. When the enemy backs, take advantage of this and take the enemy minion mine to strengthen the lane minions. If there are any enemy opponents that stayed in the jungle, kill them quickly while the enemy team is split. Once you have control of both mines, the minions will push the lane hard on their own. Take the time to reset the jungle. Place more traps as you go along. Now that you have the jungle, the enemy is stuck with having an imminent threat from the lane minions. Proper vision in the jungle can assist in a quick and safe Kraken kill, or you can stall the enemy in the jungle and let the lane minions slowly take the turrets. In solo queue, I see this happen quite a bit, and it forces the enemy to either force fights or make bad decisions. To maintain this strategy, do not let the enemy push the lane too far, and always stay grouped. You also have control of the jungle shop, and you will not need to back to buy any items. Now let's use some footage from a ranked game. The enemy has just taken my minion mine. They now have buffed minions and have strong control in the jungle. Knowing this strategy myself, to counter it and prevent it from snowballing, I rush to the lane and push as hard as I can. The lane pushes past the Kraken, and you can see a large buildup of ally minions in the lane minimap. I rush to my side. Although I have no vision, once Lyra checks the tri-bush, I rush to my minion mine and retake it. The enemy is spotted crossing the Kraken. I have regained some control of my jungle, and the good thing is, my minion wave is still past the Kraken. In this game, the biggest threat is the Vox. He has a breaking point and a double tyrant monocle. He is also paired with a petal that is strong against a Ringo and a Sky. My team has been on its heels the entire game. I take the time to get a weapon infusion because a fight is going to be imminent. As I rejoin my team, the lane is once again pushing to my side of the map. I push the lane as quickly as possible as my team pokes the enemy away from possibly rushing the lane and killing me. If I do not push the lane, the enemy can retake the minion mine and once again have control over the jungle. While I am farming the lane, I keep a close eye on the minimap and my teammates. As I see the Arden pop his gauntlet, I keep a mental note that the hard crowd control on the enemy team is gone. As we try to get some free pokes on the Arden, the Lyra gets caught and gets obliterated very quickly. As Sky ults to slow them down, I safely use my ult and then run away. As the enemy is weakened and focused on the Sky, I pop up out of the bushes and finish the team off. After the ace, at 25 minutes, the death timers are going to be around 50 seconds. All I have is 2 turrets and a Vayne. As a full crit Ringo, I know full well that I only need 25 seconds to rush their base and go for the win. There is no need to waste time and kill the Kraken. Knowing when to kill the Kraken is very important. Let's say the death timers are only 20 seconds right now. That is not enough time to finish the game, so I would go for the Kraken at that point. Because I've played this build with Ringo so many times, as long as I have 30 seconds, I know I can finish the game. Now in this next clip, it doesn't really have much to do with vision, but it is a short tip on a Hail Mary of a strategy. I am just respawning and the enemy has captured the Kraken. I only have a sliver of health left on my lone turret. With the team composition that we have and the state of the game, there is no way we can kill the Kraken and the enemy team in time. I ping my team to rush the enemy base and thankfully they are on board. I dive into the enemy backline and silence both carries. It allows me to stick close, and once their silence wears, I pop my Storm Guard. The reflect damage whittles them down as my teammates finish them off. Thankfully, the only enemy left is Lance. He has the slowest attack speed in the game. I urge my team to continue to rush their base, and I go back to waste the Lance's time. This strategy may not always work because you might just die. But if you get stuck into a similar situation, give it a shot and you may salvage a win out of it. I'd like to take the time to thank my teammates on these 2 epic wins. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Remember to like and subscribe. Get my stuff out there so that everyone else can learn how to play this game. Stay tuned for my next video on backdooring. In the meantime, you can catch me on Twitch, or you can follow me on Twitter. And stay up to date for when I drop new videos. Good luck, and I'll see you all on the Halcyon Fold.